Hey everyone, it's Kate from Wild Tales of. If you're new, welcome. Here on YouTube and on my blog, wildtalesof.com, I share about family travel and outdoor adventure. I hope that you are doing really well and you've been able to get out and have some of your own adventures. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from the usual content that we share. Usually we are sharing either our family travels or our outdoor adventures with kids. But this particular adventure that I'm about to share was without the kids. So some friends of mine and I decided about last summer that we needed to get out and do some backpacking. So we took a backpacking trip last October, so October 2020, and it was a great success. It was tons of fun. And so we decided to repeat that this year and make it an annual trip. So we actually chose the very same hike that we did last year, and that is Rachel Lake. And Rachel Lake is near Snoqualmie Pass. In Snoqualmie Pass area, this particular hike is about exit 60 off of I-90 if you are familiar with the Seattle area. But if not, just know that this hike is out in the mountains, about an hour and a half from Seattle. So for both backpacking adventures last year and this year, we have been so lucky with the weather. Last year, it did not rain at all. It was beautiful blue skies. And then this past year, there was just a little bit of sprinkle in the morning when we woke up, kind of could hear it on the tent, but it really was not anything of a big deal and didn't really get in the way of the adventure. So I thought I would share the experience with you. I've taken lots of footage of the trail in case there are folks out there who are just hiking to Rachel Lake or also who may be thinking about backpacking to Rachel Lake. I wanted to kind of be able to show the terrain and the different trail conditions and then what it's like once you get to Rachel Lake. And then I thought it would be also neat for you to see kind of how we divvied up all of the gear and also how we chose our meals. But I'll stop rambling on and share the footage with you of the hike up to Rachel Lake. The hike is about 8 miles round trip, and once we arrived at Rachel Lake, you'll see that we set up camp, but then we continued on to Lila Lake and then came back to our site after that little side adventure. So without further ado, here is our hike to Rachel Lake. As you see right off the bat, there are a lot of water features on this trail, lots of streams to cross, and also lots of uneven terrain, as you can imagine. So my big tip is to definitely bring at least one hiking pole, just to give you some extra stability. I'm scared now. I hate these. You probably just heard I'm not a huge fan of those water crossings, but I did find that by the end of this hike that the more confident you go in, even if you just pretend that you're confident, the better that your trip across that water is going to be. And I just found that going for it rather than sitting and hemming and hawing about the best route to go and, the best rocks or logs to use, just go for it and, expect that you may have some wet shoes, and keep that in mind when you're planning on what shoe attire to wear. So here you see my friend Liz, but if you look in the background, I'm pretty sure you can see a couple of kids that were just blazing up the trail. I was so impressed with them. This was the last section before making it to the official Rachel Lake area. Definitely celebrating here. Yeah!
You did it!
As you can see, the fall colors were out as we got higher and higher in elevation, and at the lake they were just absolutely gorgeous and just kept getting better and better as we continued on. Later I'll show you the even more spectacular display as we approached Lila Lake. Now just getting a lay of the land and figuring out which camping spot would work best for our group. We ended up being just the second group to arrive, which was really nice. So finally, here is a glimpse at the beautiful Rachel Lake. It is just so gorgeous up here. We felt so lucky to get to have this experience. And so we finally settled on a good camping spot and we immediately got to work. So just a little overview of our gear that we brought in case you were curious. We brought 2 backpacking tents, so 2 of us in each tent. We had a bear can, camp stove, water filter, a pot, brought along a tarp in case it rained. We had a pretty extensive first aid kit that thankfully we didn't really have to use. Had a lighter, food, which I'll show later. Everyone had headlamps, sleeping bags, sleeping pad, and toiletries. And of course we each had a bowl, cup, and utensils. We had lunch and snacks kind of on our own, but we shared the dinner and breakfast. Just had to share my friend Sarah's sleeping bag because I thought it was so cool. So obviously it self-inflates, it's a thermarest, but you also have that pump sack so that you can top it off but without having to breathe into it. And it has the ability to trap in radiant heat. I believe it is the Neo Air X Lite from Thermarest. So with camp all set up, we went ahead and filtered some water here at the lake, and then we headed back out on the trail. So we continued on the trail and decided to head on to Lila Lake. And even if you don't go all the way to the Ramparts area or to Lila Lake, which are both possibilities, I definitely just recommend going a little bit further so you can get this beautiful kind of bird's eye view of Rachel Lake. So dinner was just Annie's macaroni and cheese, the super creamy kind, and we also added several tuna packets to get some more protein in there. Super simple, but definitely hits the spot after a big day of hiking. And then I also brought along a bunch of cut veggies. When you're just going for one night and you have 4 people to divide all the supplies with, it's nice to have those extra items just to make it that much more enjoyable. And if you're curious about the restroom facilities at Rachel Lake, here's a little glimpse at what the toilet looks like up at Rachel Lake. There is also a vault toilet at the trailhead. I'm so sorry for the poor video quality. It was getting dark and my camera was having trouble. So here we are the next morning cooking up some instant oatmeal and coffee, of course. Love oatmeal for backpacking because it's so easy to pack. And then my friend Holly was so smart to also bring along things like freeze-dried fruit to add. Such a great way to warm up and start the day, and especially grateful for that because of that little added rain that I mentioned earlier. So we packed up fairly quickly and efficiently and divided everything back up into our packs, which were a little bit lighter thanks to the food we ate, and then we just headed back out on the trail.
Yay! We did it. And we're still walking. No one got injured.
So I hope you enjoyed watching that adventure. Hopefully, if backpacking or that particular trail is something that you're interested in, that this video was helpful in giving you some insights on what the conditions are like. A tip that you probably know already, make sure you head to the Washington Trails Association, the WTA website, and look at the trail description for Rachel Lake. That will give you a lot of information if you haven't looked at that already. And then I always love to go down to the bottom to the trip reports and read those reports on folks who have been there, most recently. And that gives you even more knowledge on what to expect throughout the different times of year. If you have any questions, make sure to leave those down in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. I would love to help out. And again, thanks so much for joining us. If you liked our video, we would really appreciate you giving us a thumbs up, and we would love to have you subscribe so that you can follow along for more family travel and outdoor adventures. Thanks again, and we hope that you are staying happy and healthy, and we hope you are getting out and having some brave wild adventures, and we'll see you next time. Bye!